Hi guys, my name is Lauren from Mae Beauty, and today I'm here to show you 5 different looks using the new Empowered palette. This is the newest of the signature 5-pan palettes from OFRA, and as you can see, it has a green theme, which is so fun. I'm really excited to be sharing 5 different looks with you using that palette, and also 3 of the bossy eyes. One of the things that I personally love is easy makeup, and I also like color, so I'm excited to show you how to get easy, colorful looks and hopefully give you some inspiration. I know 5 shades doesn't seem like a lot, but there's tons of different looks that you can create, especially when you add in the liquid shadows. I personally love more of like a blended look, maybe not as structured, but if you love like liners or lashes, feel free to add those as we go along. And other than that, let's just get into the look. All right, for the first eye look, I'm gonna keep it really simple. I'm gonna go into first this kind of swampy brown. I'm taking that color on a fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to be putting this in my crease. I've already primed my lid, and I'm mostly focusing this on the back half. And I just want a little bit of a transition going on, so I'm really not building it up, and I'm being pretty light-handed with it. Now that I have that base of a transition laid down, I'm going to go in with the more purple mauve shade. I'm going to be placing this all across the entire lid, and you'll see in this video that I like to use my fingers a lot, so I'm going to just be pressing that down with my finger, and then as less product is on my finger, I will use that as a way to blend into where we've laid down that transition. And because the brown is pretty warm and this is more cool toned, I am taking this color on top of where we've laid that brown to help blend the two together. Next, I'm going to be taking a pinched fluffy brush, so it has a lot of fluff and blend to it, but it's a little bit more precise than a full-on blending brush. I'm going to take that back into that first brown that we used, and I'm just going to be wiggling this in the outer corner just to bring a little bit more depth to the look. And I'm just blending and wiggling my brush. I tend to not lift it too much, and I'm not really doing full-on swiping motions. I'm going to be taking that same color onto the lower lash line. I'm keeping it pretty neutral with this one in terms of what's available in the palette. So I'm going to be blending that mostly in the outer half of the lower lash line, and I blend it up into the lid in the outer corner. I'm taking a little bit more of that purple on my finger and just tapping on the inner corner, just punching it in. And then last, for the inner corner, I am going to go in with that kind of green. It's almost like a sage green to me, and I'm going to be using that as my inner corner highlight. I think this will really tie this kind of neutral yet slightly funky look together. And I personally love green inner corner highlights. I think that they can look really good to like just do that, almost nothing else on the lid, some mascara for like a simple and like everyday look, but there's like something there. I love that. All right, I'm keeping this pretty light. I'm gonna add some mascara, and then I will show you guys the final look. All right, so here is the final look, and I'll zoom you guys in. I really love how simple and like kind of effortless this is. I know it can seem a little daunting to do something so cool toned and warm toned together, but I think it worked out really well, and I love that inner corner highlight. Let's move on to look number 2. For the second look, I can't take it any longer. We have to do a green look, so that's what we're doing. We're gonna go all out green, all the greens on my eyes. Let's do it. To start off, I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to go into this lime chartreusey green. This is like a satin finish, so it has a little bit of shimmer, but it's going to work really nicely as a transition. And we're also going to be putting this all over the lid as well. I just love greens so much. I think they're such a fun color, and I love how bright this has turned on the skin. Although it's very like satin, it's not like a foiled, it has this almost glow to it. All right, now that I have that blended just like everywhere, I'm going to be taking another pinched fluffy brush, and I'm going to be going into the matte olive green. This I'm going to be taking, and once again using that kind of like wiggling motion, I'm just going to be buffing this on the outer part of the eye, and I'll like pack it on, like tapping like this, and then blend out. And now that I have more of a base of that matte down in the outer corner, I'm gonna go in with a domed, more dense brush. And this is, once again, just to kind of pack on even more in the outermost corner and just tapping it in, and we don't really have to worry about blending edges since we just did that. Next, I'm gonna take my finger and I'm just going to be really intensifying what we've already laid down on the lid with the fluffy brush initially, and I'm just going to be patting that lime green on and blending it into the matte we laid down. I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna be taking the Bossy Eyes in New Money. It's a olive green, but it's pretty dark. I like to take these types of liquid shadows on the back of my hand, just so I have the most control over them. Again, I'm taking my little finger here. I'm gonna tap some of that on, and I'm just getting a little bit, because we can just keep adding. And I'm just going to be tapping this in the outer corner, just to give a little bit more depth to that area. And I love shimmer all over, so I thought it would be cool. It just adds that slight extra bit of depth, like that extra something to the look. And I'm keeping that color on the outer part of the eye, on the lower part of the lid, almost like a smudgy liner, but like very smudgy. I'm going to be taking a short little shader brush to run some of the matte olive green on the lower lash line to finish up this look. And then I'm gonna bring this color into the inner corner. Come on. Be prepared to see that in like every look. I like to bring it a little bit lower on the lash line as well, like in, so that it meets up with the green we have going on. This just helps keep that inner corner a little bit more open and light can hit it so my eyes don't look closed off. I'm also gonna smudge some of the New Money shade on the lower lash line as well. I can't help myself. Again, just putting that on the back of my hand and just taking that and smudging it to meet up with that upper lash line. Okay, and one last thing, I'm taking a little bit of the highlighter shade we use, and I'm gonna be tapping that right where these two greens meet in the center of my lid, just for fun. All right, I love how this is turning out. I'm going to put some mascara on and I will show you guys the final look. All right, guys, so here is the look. I love it so much. I can't wait to zoom you in. So here we have this all green swampy look. It has some dimension, but I think it's still wearable. Like if you're scared of greens, you can definitely still do this look. I definitely suggest trying it out. I love like all the different tones of green, all the different depths of green, and I really like that added kind of sparkle that the liquid shadow gave us. All right, let's move on to look number 3. For this one, we're gonna be going more with color placement and almost like a color blocking look. So we're gonna start off with the brown, which is called Grand. I'm gonna be using Grand. It took me a while to figure that out on the palette, not gonna lie. I'm using a fluffy blending brush to first start this in the crease, but we're gonna be putting this all over the lid. It's gonna be like our main shadow. And once I have a nice wash of that, I'm just continuing on building up the depth on the lid and then blending out. I'm also going to switch to a flat shader brush just to help lay down a little bit more of that product on the lid. And now that we have the lids done, I'm going to go straight into the bottom lash line. I'm taking the same color, we're taking Grand, and I'm going to be buffing that on the lower lash line, again meeting it up with the outer corner and the upper lid. Now that we have Grand everywhere, I'm going to be going in with an inner corner, and you guessed it, I'm going in with the shade Wall Street, that highlighter, and I'm just kind of buffing it all in that inner corner, a little bit down along the lower lash line as well. And then last, for the really fun part to me, I'm gonna be taking Boss Babe, I believe that's the shade name, and we're gonna be taking this electric green into the upper brow portion of the eye. I know, hold on with me, I'm pretty sure it's gonna look good. I do this a lot with different colors, especially pink, and I find this is a really like unexpected yet fun way to incorporate color into your look. So I'm going to be taking a fluffy brush and I'm just going to be blending that color right here, right at the top of that brow bone. And this color is so pretty. It has that like glow, like I said, that it really looks cool. All right, here it is. I love it. I love including color and just doing something kind of with that space that's above the lid. I feel like it kind of gets left out. People don't use it a lot, and this is one of my favorite ways, or adding like sparkle. It's just so fun. Once again, I keep everything pretty simple. I'm just gonna add some mascara and I will show you guys the final look. All right, guys, so here is the look with mascara. I always find mascara totally changes the look for me. It adds so much contrast that I need. since my lashes are blonde, but let's zoom in so you can see it up close and personal. I feel like my eyes are so blue with this color combination. I also really like this look because it's exactly my type of thing. There's something unexpected, yet it was like simple and pretty easy to create. It's more about like blending than it is about like harsh lines and whatnot. So I really like this one. I hope you guys do too. And I highly suggest trying out, you know, blending a little into the brow bone. I know, it's a little different, but it's super fun. All right, guys, we're moving on to the fourth look, and we're gonna do something a little bit more intense for this one. I'm going to be using the Bossy Eyes in Do Not Disturb, which is a really pretty purpley wine color. It has like some purple and then like some golden reflex, so it's gonna be really beautiful. That's gonna be all over the lid. And then I'm going to kind of transition it into the dark green matte that we have. So let's get started. I'm going straight in with that dark green on the outer corner just so we get the most pigmentation of that built down, and then we'll start blending those edges out. I'm starting with a small angled brush, and I like an angled brush for this because it can help give you shape without really trying, since it's already angled itself. So I'm going to be working this in the outer corner, and I'm starting by packing it on, and then I'll worry about blending out later. And when I have less product on my brush, I'm kind of blending it in. And now that we have the starting of a shape, I'm going back in with that denser domed brush once again to really pack on the shadow. Before we move on, I'm gonna just blend a little bit more. I'm taking a smaller fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go into the lighter green, that really electric green, and I'm going to be buffing this just on the outer corner at the transition, just to really make sure we have a nice seamless blend. I also, once again, love the glow that this shadow gives. Now we're gonna go in with the liquid shadow. You could do this a couple different ways. You could just go straight in. I just like to have more control than that. So I'm gonna put this on the back of my hand once again, and I'm gonna start with my finger. I'm just getting a little bit of product. And this, I'm going to work in layers that are buildable, which I really love. So because of that, I'm going to be going on with like layers and build up the opacity to where I like it. And it's going to give us a lot of control when it comes to where these shadows meet, the green and the purple. And I really like that. So I'm mostly focusing this blending portion and the tap on that portion, and then we can go in and refine with a brush. I'm now going to go in with a rounded brush, and I'm going to be kind of carving out a bit of a crease and just cleaning up where that shadow is. I've decided to kind of mesh that outer corner a little bit more since the lid shadow is a little bit deeper. I'm going to go in with the New Money Bossy Eyes shade, and I'm going to be also using that to kind of tap over and get a nice blend. And I'm going to be starting out with a brush at the very beginning since we already have quite a bit of blending done. Ooh, it's so pretty. And I'm going back in now with that matte green, just so we can blend everything together. For the inner corner, I'm going in with the shade Wall Street, and this is really gonna help brighten everything up. I'm gonna pull a little bit of that olive under the eye, keeping it just to the outer half. All right, I'm getting very like dragon vibes, like Maleficent vibes, and I'm just leaning in. I'm leaning all the way in. So I'm going in with that lime green, and once again, just kind of really enhancing that color here at the inner brow bone. I'm also gonna be bringing that shade on the lower lash line in between the outer corner colors and that inner highlight shade. All right, I feel like we've had a whole journey with this eye look. I'm going to add a little bit of liner on the bottom lash line, and then I will show you guys the final look. All right, guys, so here's the final look. This is a little bit more structured for me, a little bit deeper. It has like this kind of, I don't know, to me, it reminds me of a dragon, I don't know, or like a Disney villain. But here is a close-up of the look. I definitely think the liner helped add some nice depth to this look. And I used the OFRA gel liner in brown to do that. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and let's move on to the last look, look number 5. For the final look, we're mostly gonna be focusing on the CFO Bossy Eyes liquid eyeshadow. So the first thing I wanna do is just get down a nice sheer base. So I'm gonna be dotting on just one little dot. I'm working one eye at a time just so it doesn't dry on me, and I'm just blending that out with my finger, and then I will continue to add a little bit more. And this is just so we can get a nice blend to the outer edges before we build up the color on the lid. So I have that pretty well blended out, just a nice light layer. Of course, you could stop here if you want. I'm gonna build up a little bit more on the lid though. To do that, I'm gonna take a flat shader brush, and I'm gonna be using this to really focus this color on the bottom half of the lid. And then as you have less product on the brush, it should be pretty easy to get a blend since we've laid the basis for that originally. I am going to go in with the shade Grand, which is the brown, and I'm going to very lightly, very lightly tap in, and I just want to bring a little bit of warmth to the outer edges of the eye look, especially in this outer corner. All right, now that I have added just that little tiny bit of warmth to the outer edge, I'm gonna bring some of that brown to the lower lash line, mostly in the outer corner. I'm actually gonna be using a bit of liner on the lower lash line and a little tiny bit smudged on the top. This is just the gel liner in brown. I'm putting that on a flat liner brush. I'm really working the product like into the brush, so I have more control because I want a more smudgy look. And I'm going to be taking this on the lower lash line, just kind of dotting it on. Again, I like to keep stuff to the outer edges so that way I can keep my eyes open. And then I'm going to blend it out while it dries. It adds a really nice smokiness to the look. And then whatever's left on my brush, I'm just wiggling at my lashes. I personally don't like to use liner too much, which I'm sure you've seen. And the reason for that is because I have hooded eyes. Liner can just gobble up basically all the space on my lids, and I love shadow, so I like to usually not do too much. All right, I like the amount of like smokiness that added. And last, we're gonna be taking a different green. We're taking the lime green now for the inner corner, and this is gonna be our pop of color. This type of lime green is one of my favorite colors to add to the inner corner. I think it is so pretty, and it's still nice and light and bright that it doesn't like close off my eye, but it's definitely a bit more of a punch than the other green we've been using. And if you want, you can also take that lighter green, Wall Street, and just kind of tap it on top just to highlight even more what we have going on. Okay, I'm gonna add some mascara and I'll show you guys final look. Here it is a little bit closer so you can see that kind of cool tone with the warmth on the ends. And then we have that pop of green. I just love that green. How many times can I say it in a video? I love that green in the inner corner. You can't go wrong with green in the inner corner. All right, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the 5 looks I created using the Empowered palette. I hope it gave you some inspiration on how you can move around 5 different shadows and 3 of the cream shadows and get a bunch of different looks. Of course, you can switch around placement and colors. This is just like a jumping off point. Experiment, have fun. That's what makeup is for. And other than that, thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.